Hello.
I think we need to wait for the little eye.
There
Oh,
it is.
there. All right. Good morning, everyone. Mark and I,
Hello.
live from the farm, living with the spirit in Chiang Mai, Thailand, Northern Thailand, from our retreat center up here. And today we are sharing a little riff on healing the masculine wound, because it's something that we both work on and we know a lot of people ask about and want to know more about. So here we go. So what are we doing today, Mark?
Well, I think we should perhaps, just discuss a little bit about what the masculine wound is, and we can share some of our personal stories about our experiences with it and what we're doing along the way. So I would say that regardless of your gender, you may experience masculine wound. And sometimes the masculine wound comes from father figures, from your birth father, stepfathers, or people in your life that you give that credibility to, but not always. Sometimes the masculine wound comes from our society, where we, especially in the Western world, where there's a hyper masculine, vigilant state that everyone is kind of expected to be in. That can also contribute to the masculine wound, even if you have like a perfect father figure in your life. So sometimes people attribute masculine wounds to only fathers and father figures, but I think there's a deeper societal wound stemming from the wounded masculine. And especially when it comes to masculine energy, there's a huge ego shield. And that's probably, like a defense mechanism that goes in place when the masculine is wounded. So when the masculine is wounded, we stick up a big shield, regardless of your gender, to kind of build up a front so that we feel safe and secure, and that can go in really bad directions, or it might just be kind of a subtle wound. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Sarah.
No, I feel like I mean it definitely comes from the masculine like the relationship we have with the masculine, like our experience with the masculine. But I really like what you said, that it's a not a suicidal, but what did you call it?
Societal.
Societal, because that's what I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I realized that I had such a deep mistrust in the masculine.
Yeah.
That was where because I've had a massive masculine shield, that I've been working for years on this. And I mean, it comes from a very, very unhealthy lifestyle. I've been talking quite widely about this now, that I was quite deep into like drugs and alcohol and like very masculine way of living, like a little bit more like gangster lifestyle, being very tough. I was the only girl, like one of the few girls in a very masculine surrounding, and it was being very tough and cool all the time, and that really didn't do any favors for me. And then I went into the corporate, which is also very masculine, because it's always structured. There's no flow. There's there's no tuning in. There's like this cutthroat, energy in and around it. So, but I realized that my mistrust came that the masculine was not to be trusted, that the men, and also that men didn't want the same things as women. Men only wants like power, to have fun, to earn money, to have many women, to not stick to one person, and not very interested in their kids, and stuff like that. So it took me to being in a very healthy relationship for 8 years to start to really start to trust someone, and trust someone deeply, that is from the masculine. So that's where I come from. And this protection that you put up. And I really, when you say this, that there's an ego protection that comes, I totally had that a lot. Still probably have a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the masculine wound is actually the inner child that's wounded.
Yeah.
But as we mature into adults, that shield that comes up in front of that wounded space portrays itself as a hyper-masculine defense mechanism as this shield. So we engage in, rascality, I like to call it, drugs and alcohol and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And then, even if we get cleaned up and we're still having hyper-masculine activities at work by always being in control, always being the boss, always stressing out over this and that and trying to be engaged with everything. Similar to you, Sarah, I've also had a long history of being a wounded masculine. And I've been that version of a masculine person that you're afraid of, the one that isn't trustworthy, the one that would rather be out, not taking care of the family, cheating, lying, stealing, all of that.
Yeah.
And for me, the same thing. It took a huge shift in my consciousness and a partner that wasn't wounded, that didn't have all of those, to help me find balance.
Yeah.
And it's true what you said, that the man, the masculine figure, does want the same thing. We want stability, we want a family, we want to work together, we want togetherness, wholeness. But the societal impacts that are kind of like always around us are leading us in different directions. And now, of course, as human beings, we always have the choice, and that's up to us individually. But if you look at like the everyday Western man, they're heavily influenced by this lifestyle of not being a strong and grounded masculine man. And even if you look at films, the only strong and grounded masculine men usually are portrayed as superheroes. So it's like, well, I'm just a regular person, I'm never going to be this superhero. So it's like there's always kind of like this mismatch between what you can be and what you want to be. And then people get distracted by a variety of different ways to defend themselves with drugs and alcohol and other types of addictions and things. So I think, for us specifically, the way that both of us have been working on our masculine wounds is to bring some balance into the polarity, which means going over and finding some peace and serenity in the feminine aspect. And I think that word surrender is the most important part of that equation, and just allowing our feelings, allowing our thoughts, allowing our emotions to surface up instead of always holding them in tightly with shields all around us, like impenetrable. But when you open up and you share and you're seen by others, you cry in front of someone, express your emotion in front of someone, say your truth in front of someone.
Yeah.
That helps you to bring balance to this wound.
I mean, it is the what you say about healing the child, the inner child, and healing the traumas and healing the wounds, and discovering, like, okay, what am I up to? What have I been doing? How does these things portray in my life? And I mean, you and I come from quite extreme situations, maybe, and it doesn't have to be that extreme to be affected by it. I mean, I meet a lot of people in that I work with, and that have a lot of women having this masculine shield, but just by existing, just by living in society, that it's promoted that you need to be, as a woman, you need to look good, you need to exercise all the time, you need to have a successful Instagram account, you need to be good at work, you need to have a big bunch of friends, you need to socialize, you need to, and then bring in the kids and be a good mother and balance the work and the family, and never being enough, and it's just not enough. And then to survive in that environment, we turn to the masculine structures. So I used to joke about that. I went from the drugs and the alcohol, and then I became a workaholic. But then I started to use my calendar as my drug. I used to as soon as I was stressed, I was just in my calendar, and the calendar is it's a masculine structure.
Yeah.
And we see that the woman is the project manager of the family, taking care of everything, making sure everyone's on time, on schedule, food here, kids there, doctor's appointment here, dentist there, da, 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 da. And it's just no time for the flow of the energy, the flow of the female.
Right.
And there's and then, I mean, it really comes down to that the chemistry starts to shift in the body when you start to see that the body, Gabor Mate, I mean, it's even in the book, he says the body says no. He touches upon that the body even starts to shift the hormonal balance to meet the new requirements for this external threat that the body believes we are in. So it's just, it has such a detrimental impact on us on a physical level. It's not only our emotion and the way that we are not feeling aligned with what we do, and we start to, we don't feel very well.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting way that it expresses itself.
Yeah, and in that research that Gabor Mate pointed out about the hormonal changes too, is that hormonal changes also shift physiological changes. So if you start to live in a masculine state and then you start to produce more hormones that respond to that, well, then physiologically you actually start to like bulk up in the shoulders, and you start to project and possess masculine physical traits as well.
Yeah.
So it starts in the mind, goes chemically into the body. So it takes time to reverse this if this is a wound that's deep within you. So what are we doing, Sara, to reverse it?
I mean, the big thing I would say is to go, I mean, it's the inner work. The inner work is the road to freedom and purpose, and no matter what the levels are. And it's very interesting because we work with a lot of people who ask me like, okay, what herbs should I use to restore the balance in the glands and the organs, because the glands and the organs get affected, and the hormonal balance gets imbalanced. So they want this. I have this organ. I need to. How do I heal it naturally? But what we need to do is to restore the balance in the body. And we use a philosophy called energy medicine, where we treat the body as it's not the problem is not the glands. It's just systemic. It's just a systemic and holistic issue. So we treat the whole body, and we start to restore the balance on every single level, on the physical, on the emotional, on the spiritual, because we develop things in the physical that we need to work on, but the usual issue is in the nervous system and the emotional, like the unprocessed stuff that we start to unfold. But then the masculine shield is also very locked in with the spiritual. And when we say spiritual, we talk about belief systems and like the subconscious, which is really the autonomic nervous system, like our experiences that has turned. So we created a belief system that is beneficial for us in the masculine. So we need to start to dismantle the ego and dismantle the belief systems. So we do that here at our retreat. We have a 21-day signature program where we dive deep into any issues that the individual needs to work on, or we also work online where we implement like in real time in the lifestyle. So it's a 6-month dedication to transform your lifestyle and your life, to reverse and to come back into balance, both on the physical, emotional, and the spiritual level.
Yeah. And it's, like you said, a multifaceted approach. Mm-hmm. It's not just taking the herbs or doing one thing. It's really kind of connecting to all of these different areas, which is why in our program, both the retreat and the online version, we prefer to work with people somatically, which means in the body. Yeah. Because this is not a problem that exists only in the mind, but it's connected deep into our tissues in the body.
Yeah.
So we do a variety of different somatic practices to help you reconnect with your body, with your physiology, with the tension, with the contraction and expansion of your internal energies, your muscles. And this is the way to unlock not only the masculine wound, but really all of your problems.
Yeah. And I mean, the road to freedom is through the body, and that's why one of our major tools that we work with is the autonomic nervous system, because we have to restore the safety in the body. It needs to be, so I'm working a lot with you, for instance, because you're working so deeply to become the healthy masculine, and for me, I allow you to, by working with you, I allow the healthy masculine to hold space for me so I can step into the healthy feminine and allow those shields to come down and to be vulnerable and to express and start to trust in the feminine again. Because I didn't feel like there was a trust there either, because I didn't trust the man. So there must be something wrong with the woman, because the man doesn't want to be with the woman in that sense. So it's like restoring that balance, but going through the body, through the nervous system, and like recreating that safety in the body so that we can feel safe to explore these things, because everyone has their own setup, everyone has their own situation, generational stuff, genetics and lifestyle, what happened, and so it's about finding the safety to allow the body to process all of that, to find your way home inside of you again.
Find your way home. Yeah, lovely.
If you want to know more about what we do, you can tune into livingwiththespirit.com, or you can always send us a DM to find out more. We're always open to chat. Doing this work it can be a bit deep, so having more questions answered and stuff is always finding out if we're a good fit to work with each other. So you're always welcome to DM us. Have a great day, and see you soon. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you. See y'all later.
Bye.